Hey everyone, it's Veronica, the Heart Dietitian. We're talking all about quick and easy plant-based heart healthy lunches. We're going to start today with an Instapot lentil recipe. So it's like a warm sweet potato recipe. What I usually do is I meal prep my lentils through the Instapot, and it's super easy to do whenever you're in the kitchen or you are meal prepping for the week, you're making dinner, maybe even making breakfast. It takes about 15 minutes to do, but all you have to do is you throw in a cup of green lentils that are dry. Then you throw in a cup and 3/4 of vegetable stock or chicken stock or beef stock or bone broth, whatever you want to do to flavor your lentils. Throw that all in the Instapot, cook it for about 6 to 8 minutes, and then let it naturally steam off for about 10 minutes. So it takes about 20 minutes total, but you have lentils that are delicious for the week. And then when lunch comes around, all you need to do is scoop out the lentils and plop it in with whatever else you're eating. Sometimes I throw the lentils in a wrap and I add some salsa. I also usually pair the lentils with whatever leftover grain I'm cooking with. So maybe I have leftover barley or leftover rice. I put that together and steam some greens on the side. And another easy thing to do too is throw in a baked potato in the microwave, which I'll show you how to do later. And you can just chop up these sweet potatoes, throw it in with your lentils, and drizzle it with this beautiful balsamic vinaigrette dressing that I'll leave the recipe below in the description. It is one of my favorite throw together lunches that taste like a quality restaurant meal. So this 2-ingredient lunch meal is a fantastic heart healthy meal. You can actually have it for dinner too if you want, but all you need is 2 ingredients: sweet potato, and this is like a vegan canned chili. Right? Super easy. The sweet potatoes I use are usually Baco Sweet baked potatoes. I don't know if you've seen these in the grocery store. They're from California. I really like them because they're like a pretty good size. They're usually consistent in size. Like they don't get much bigger than this. The weight is the same. So it's basically a good amount of carbohydrate fiber that will keep you full to your next meal. A lot of the time in the grocery store, their sweet potatoes in like the bulk section can be really big, and it's harder to make a baked potato out of that. You don't want to be wasting extra potato and reheating it after. It just doesn't taste the same. So anyways, I like these. And they all take about 5 minutes, give or take, your microwave speed and heat, but about 5 minutes in the microwave to bake it. I just cut a slit down the middle and stab it, and then let air out for the 5 minutes. And then after that, I heat up the chili. This one is a vegan chili, so it's just beans, basically no beef, which keeps the saturated fat low. And when we're controlling for or managing our blood cholesterol levels, we want to keep the saturated fat low if you are buying chili. So keep that in mind. And then this chili is pretty high in protein as well as fiber. So that's what you want to be looking for on the nutrition facts panel. So 1 1/4 cups of this chili gives you 8 grams of fiber, and it gives you 16 grams of protein, which is awesome. So this meal, if you have just the 2 ingredients, will almost give you around 20 grams of protein and over 10 grams of fiber, which is so great. It will definitely keep you full until your next meal. And then you can also top it how you like it. You can add salsa or avocado, guacamole if you have it. You can even sprinkle it with some shredded cheese as well, just whatever you like. But yeah, I get this chili from Costco, so I don't know if you have something similar, but like just remember the first couple ingredients should read the beans. So this one says water, red beans, chickpeas, black beans, and then tomatoes and tomato paste. So it's a pretty clean ingredient list, not a lot of additives, and then keeps the saturated fat low if it's vegan. So yeah, let's see how it's done. Okay, so what I have here is tortilla. I know the recipe calls for pita, but you can also use tortilla, and I'm using tortilla just because I have it in my fridge. So you could use tortilla, you could use like a flatbread or a naan bread, whatever you have, but whole grain would be the best bet because whole grain offers more potassium and magnesium, more of those heart healthy nutrients that we're looking for. What I have here is like store-bought hummus. I bought it at Costco, but I do like this brand because if you can look at the ingredient list, very simple ingredient list: chickpeas, tahini, canola oil, lemon juice, salt, vinegar, garlic. So really everything that I would be adding to my hummus if I was making it at home. So that's perfect. Maybe the only thing I'd change would be making it with olive oil instead of canola oil. And then the other thing that I see here is salt. So we don't want too much salt in our diet because too much salt can increase our blood pressure. So always looking at that nutrition facts panel can help. So let's look. So 2 tablespoons of hummus equals about 4% of sodium, which isn't too bad. When we're looking at percentages, you know, something like sodium that we don't want a lot of, I would recommend looking for 5% or less per serving, and that's what this offers. So, you know, I think this is a great product. And of course, if I made it at home, that would be fantastic, but I don't have time for that. So this will be great on my hummus pizza. So let's start with spreading the hummus around. We want the cooked chickpeas are the first ingredient here, and that's the legumes. So that's offering us some plant protein, which is really important because we want protein at each meal. We just don't want animal protein at each meal. So trying to incorporate this plant protein can be very helpful for our heart. So just spread it around. Good thing hummus is also very tasty, so it's an easy thing to do. And so that's that. The next thing I'm adding is hemp seed. So if you see that, it's in a container. I don't have the package because I use it so often. I just keep it in a container like this. But if you can see it, it's a seed. It's very thin seed. It's not crunchy, and it's very small, if that makes sense. It doesn't offer too much in texture, like it's not too crunchy, but it offers so much in protein. So when we're looking at protein per meal, we probably want about 20 grams of protein, give or take, of course, but around 20 grams. And hummus offers some with the chickpeas, but that's probably about 10 grams. So adding about 3 tablespoons of this hemp seed to it can be helpful to get you to that 20 grams that we need. And hemp seeds are full of other heart healthy nutrients like potassium, magnesium, omega-3 fatty acids as well. So that's another plus that we could have. So omega-3s are an essential fat, which means that our body can't make them and we really need to eat them or try to incorporate them. And the best bet is through fish, but if not, we can have some plant foods like this hemp seed. So we have the hemp seed now, and now it's time to add the veggies. So the recipe calls for peppers, which I love. I have just peppers in my, like cut up peppers for the week in my container here. You can cook them to make them softer because this is only going in the oven for about like 8 minutes or so. So it's not gonna cook the peppers. So if you want them soft, I would just saute them on the stovetop before you put them on. But I actually like crunchy, so I'm just gonna do it as is. So here we go. And then it also says zucchini. So if you're doing a zucchini or cucumber, I would do that first and then the peppers next. But I'm actually allergic to both cucumber and zucchini, so I can't have it. So I'm just I'm gonna do some tomatoes instead. And just spread it around. And that's it. So next, so simple. Like, what did that take like 5 minutes to make? The other thing I have here is just extra lentils. So I'm actually gonna throw some on for some extra plant-based protein. This isn't in the recipe, but just something that is easy to do. You can actually do this on any pizza recipe. So even if you're doing like takeout or frozen pizzas, throwing some extra lentils on They don't taste like much. They're so soft. This is canned lentils that I just have, and they're soft, so you don't have to cook them. Really easy to just incorporate, and you're adding, again, some more heart healthy nutrients. Okay, so let's make lentil salsa toast. So you can see here, this is like a brown lentil. There's lots of different lentils. There's red, there's green. This is brown. It's from a can. This is the one that I purchased. It looks like green lentils on the outside, but if you can find ones that say low sodium on the front of package, that is preferred, because that will mean that it has low sodium. Usually, another kind of label I guess you could look for is no salt added. That would indicate that there's no salt added in the ingredient list. But you can see here the first ingredient is lentils, second one is salt, water, and then salt. So really salt is the second ingredient. But then you can also look, so for half a cup, we're getting about 8% of our sodium for the day, which, you know, it's not too much, but if you can have a lower amount of sodium, I think that can be helpful if you are looking to lower your blood pressure. So just something to consider if you see them in your grocery store. I obviously did not, and that's why I purchased these. If you can't find the low sodium version, just rinse it really, really well. So, you know, drain it in your strainer and then rinse it well. You can remove about 30% of the sodium there. So this recipe is so simple: lentils and salsa. It is lentil salsa toast. So let's look at the salsa. This is a salsa I purchased from Costco. I really like it. It's like a fresh kind of salsa. And it is, let's see here. Sorry, the ingredients: diced tomatoes. Second ingredient is salt, so it is higher on the salt side. Onions, green peppers, cilantro, lots of spices. So I like it because it's a lot of whole ingredients, but again, can be high in sodium. So something to watch. Look, a quarter of a cup has about 20% of your daily intake, and that's what we need for this recipe, is a quarter of a cup. So something to consider when you are purchasing your salsa. Of course, you can make your salsa at home if you have time for that, but that's not always the case. So lentils and salsa, you mix them together and it is delicious. So you can mix it together in a bowl, and then I would heat it up in the stovetop and then put it on like a toast. So a piece of bread that's toasted, and voila, that's your dinner. So it doesn't take long at all. Could be lunch as well if you wanted, could be breakfast, lots of options, but the salsa brings out a lot of flavor. So if you heat it up, then it's just nice and warm. You definitely can make it cold, or keep it cold too. The bread will be warm, toasted, and then put this on top. Delicious. Then what I do, I top it with Greek yogurt. This one says 2% milk fat. I do recommend like a 2% or 0% when you're looking for Greek yogurt. That's because, like, this is 3/4 of a cup. We would only use like a dollop on top, but but 3/4 of a cup would still give you about 2 grams of saturated fat. And that amount, that saturated fat, is the type of fat that increases our LDL cholesterol levels. So, you know, we can have some saturated fat in a day, but we don't want too much. So 2 grams is okay, but if we had like a 5% milk fat, that would probably go up to, you know, higher, maybe around 5 grams of saturated fat. So lowering that can be helpful. And I do find the 2% still like thick and creamy. The other thing I really like about Greek yogurt is it offers protein. So yes, of course, it's not protein from plants, but it is protein. And that's what we're looking for in our meals, is to get around 20 grams of protein per meal. Lentils do offer lots of protein, but having this extra little bit of Greek yogurt just tops it off so that you're getting enough protein for the meal. And when I'm looking at bread, this is the bread that I like. This is Silver Hills sprouted, but it's multigrain. Multigrain or whole grain. Both of those titles are really good because they have a lot of magnesium and potassium, which are minerals, heart healthy minerals that help to, you know, relax and contract our blood vessels. So really helpful.
Per 2 slices, you get 6 grams of fiber and 8 grams of protein, which is very good. But of course, whatever type of bread you want is fine. What I do look for in bread, if you are going to shop for heart healthy bread, you always want to look at the serving size. So for this one, it's 2 slices. And then for 2 slices of bread, I would look for at least 5 grams of fiber. Fiber keeps us full, but can also help lower our cholesterol levels. So that's great. Then you'd also, I like that this one's offering about 8 grams of protein. 2 slices of bread could be anywhere from 5 to 10 grams of protein, which is what I would recommend. Generally lower in the saturated fats, which is great, but it is a hidden source of sodium. So 2 slices can equal about 20% of your sodium intake. So if you're watching your blood pressure, yes, you're getting a lot of nutrients like potassium, magnesium in this meal that will help lower your blood pressure, but you could have, a higher amount of sodium based on the products that you're choosing. If you're not finding that no salt added lentils, if you're choosing a higher sodium salsa and you're choosing a higher sodium bread, that can all add up. So make sure that you're looking out for products that you enjoy that are in your grocery store that will blood pressure. So toast up the bread, lay down your warm salsa lentils, and then top it with your Greek yogurt and you're set. So simple, very delicious.